Crying is the first thing we do when we are born. When we are little, we cry for food, for warmth, for clothes, for toys, for treats, for everything. But at teenage age, something happens. I see my females crying when they got emotional, but I no longer see my male friends crying. So why is that? Is it because they couldn't feel anymore, or because they were not allowed to? Through the years, I have noticed how women have been fighting their way on industries dominated by men, as well as men have been trying to defeat all kinds of stereotypes that society places on them. Today, I'm here to let you an open invite to choose equality. Whether you decide to call yourself a feminist or you just don't like the label at all, choose equality. Either way, I'm here to explain you some things before. Feminism is the pursuit of equal opportunities between both men and women. This concept is not about women being more powerful than men. It's about fighting for our equality. We need everybody collaborating on this because this issue is for men concerned too. People don't often talk about how men are getting affected by gender inequality, but the problem is still there and I can see it every day. Blue is for boys and pink is for girls. We cannot succeed if half of us are being held back. I bet you have heard it, but have you done something? On September, I have the opportunity of going to a state congress, and one female deputy was giving a speech about how women should not be complained for not finding a job. So, to my surprise, I found it interesting because I haven't seen a female president or Mexico's history. And then I found that the decree states that the law, and I quote, aims to regulate and ensure equality of treatment and opportunities for both men and women, propose guidelines and institutional mechanisms that guide nations toward the fulfillment of this equality. So it sounds pretty good on paper, doesn't it? But I asked to myself, is it enough to be written down on a paper? Is it enough to believe that law will protect all those women and men who are not being treated as they deserve? I think not. But don't get me wrong, because changing the law is an important step towards the objective. But just because you deny a problem, it doesn't make it non-existent. The first step towards the solution is accepting that there is something to solve. On Saturdays, I go to a course of leadership. And I am the youngest person in there. Everyone is aged from 21 and above. And don't even ask me how I ended up going because I don't even know. But the thing is that I took advantage of one of the sessions and I asked all the attendants if they knew what was feminism. And to my surprise, there were not as many as I thought there would be. This will sound so cliche, but most of the people attending are millennials. So I thought to myself, of course they will know. So imagine my disappointment when I see 23 hands in the air out of 50 people attending. Either way, there were quite few people that didn't know what feminism stands for. So I explained to them. And later, I asked again, who will consider themselves a feminist? So imagine my surprise, one person out of 50 people in that room raised a hand. Later, after a couple of sessions, one mate approaches me and asks me, hey, what was that feminism thing all about? And shortly after he asked, I didn't thought you would be one of those feminazis. So then after a couple of sessions more, another mate approaches me and asks me, hey, what was that discriminazis thing all about? And then it all made sense. Feminism is often related to men hating, but it actually isn't. This movement is to fight for the inequalities of the system, to fight for the equality of gender. So, radical feminism doesn't stand for what is true feminism. I haven't seen a shelter for abused men, and I know that domestic violence exists for men too. I haven't seen a country in which everyone doesn't discriminate by gender. But what I do see is that there is something to change. I want to invite you to fight the inequalities of the system, to raise up, to use your voice. Don't be afraid to try. Don't be afraid to cry. Just live. So man up, girl up, speak up. Thank you.